Welcome to Bee's Travelogue, episode 69. I returned from Busan and had my last few weekends in Korea. The first one I spent with my friends Tanya and Jung in Mokpo. I took an early bus and arrived at the fish market around 11 o'clock. We were going to meet at the Mokpo Harbor Festival. When it was almost lunchtime, we headed to the food trucks. There was a small selection of different kinds of foods, and we all looked around to see what we would like. Tanya knew right away she was going to have one of the long sausages with ketchup, and I was looking at the potatoes, twisted potatoes on a stick, but they came in some sort of covering that I wasn't sure if I would like it. But then Gunyang was able to translate, and I just had plain potatoes with some ketchup. I was not a big fan and started looking at these waffles with ice cream that some girls were getting. And so then, of course, we all got one of these as well. We sat down and ate first and then decided to go for a little stroll around the park on the peninsula. We had very beautiful view of Yudal-san Mountain and then met this cute little dog with his yellow sunglasses. It was fall, but really October is one of the nicest months in South Korea. October and November. They're both usually sunny and bright and still very, very warm. So the flowers were still out, the trees were still green, everything was very beautiful. We headed back to the festival and sat down in some chairs to watch the performances. There was a performance going on with drummers with torches in their hands, beating the drums. It was quite impressive. There was quite a long cooking performance by 4 different chefs, and I didn't really know what was going on exactly. Then there was this classical music performance with flute and violin. And then there were several more singers, but we were getting bored and decided to leave. That night, back in my apartment building, I noticed a beautiful sunset and went to the rooftop to get a good view. I was starting to feel nostalgic and a little bit sad about leaving. Even though I was looking forward to my long vacation in Asia, about 2 months in Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand, I was very sad to leave this part of my life behind. I had had a wonderful time in South Korea and met so many friends, and leaving the friends behind was something, and my students as well, was something that I really wasn't looking forward to. So I looked down at Namak and the surrounding mountains and the traffic below and just wondered if it was the last time that I saw a beautiful sunset up there. I stayed on the rooftop for quite a long time. I even took a picture of the pretty bare roof. Then I watched the lights come on in Namak. I saw the building where I went to school, the area for my groceries, the hotel where I had stayed on my first night. All of these areas of Namak had memories. Whenever you close one chapter of your life and start a new chapter, it's always bittersweet. But to not have these experiences because you know it will be sad in the end is not an option in my opinion. So I'm glad that I came and that I experienced this 1 year in South Korea. So the next day I went back to Mokpo and met Tanya again. We were very close to where the Harbor Festival had taken place the day before. We walked through one of the neighborhood markets where Tanya and her husband would go shopping. Then we crossed back over to the peninsula and went to the Kim Dae-jung Memorial Hall, which Tanya wanted to show me. The memorial hall was dedicated to Kim Dae-jung, who was president in South Korea and also had been one of the fighters for democracy in the 1980s. He's the one who made sure that those people responsible for the murdering of Korean citizens during the democratic uprising were all brought to justice. The Memorial Hall contains a lot of information about the Nobel Peace Prize in general and what Kim Dae-jung did in particular in order to receive it. He grew up as a little boy in Mokpo. He went to school here, and later he fought for democracy and became the president, so Mokpo is very proud of him. Kim Dae-jung was the 15th president of South Korea and was a huge advocate for democracy, human rights, and peace. He was especially advocating for peace between North and South Korea and brought about the first summit between the two countries. This memorial celebrates Kim Dae-jung's life and his legacy, and also celebrates other Nobel Peace Prize winners like Willy Brandt, Johannes Paul II, and others. Kim Dae-jung did not have an easy life. He was fighting hard for democracy. He was imprisoned and even sentenced to death. Before I came to South Korea, I didn't know much about the democracy movement. I really learned most of it through the K-dramas I watched, and then through going to Gwangju and Mokpo and Seoul and learning more about what happened in 1980 and 1987. A lot of the people who were engaged in these crimes against Koreans didn't get brought to justice until much, much later. Here's Tanya sitting at one of the UN desks. And then we had a coffee and we left the memorial hall and walked through Mokpo. Downtown Mokpo is actually quite colorful and pretty, and there are lots of cafes and lots of restaurants. And I really want to advocate for Mokpo and say that it's quite a cute city and there's quite a lot to see and to do. I was very tempted here at the bakery, but we didn't buy anything. We just looked and walked around. But I highly recommend all the bakeries in downtown Mokpo. When we got close to where Tanya was living, we said goodbye and I waited for the bus. The bus from Mokpo to Namak was about 40 minutes, usually 40 to 50 minutes, depending on traffic. They would go very fast, and I was very used to riding on the buses. Here's the main bus stop in front of the train station, and here's the interior of the bus. Please join me for my next trip to Namwon near Gwangju. Thank you for watching.